When looking at a career abroad for any nurse, everyone talks about salary. It's about how much you make in a year, what's your income going to be like when you land up on your first job there. But no one talks about the first year, the year one. It is essentially in the year one, what you do, how you react, how you adopt, how you land up and how you culturally integrate yourself to the society is where a nurse either makes it or breaks it. Now, it's not just about getting the visa and landing up there, but it's about what happens after you land up in that destination country. So great, now you have prepared, you have studied, you got your B2 level of certification, and then you land up in Germany. And the moment you land up, you realize it's not what it is back in India or back in Kerala. It's freezing cold. It's minus 5 degrees Celsius and you have all your warm jackets put on. You are alone on your own figuring out the entire space. Suddenly Google Maps and Google Translate becomes your best friend. You meet and go and talk to your coordinator who's there to welcome you. The coordinator greets you, but he speaks in thick German accent. While he's all very friendly, but you only get to understand 1 in every 3 words. And that's the challenge what happens if you do not understand the language in deep way. Once you have landed, you meet with the coordinator and then the coordinator takes you to your room. You land up in your room, and who are your roommates? Your roommates could be from India, but most likely these roommates are going to be from other countries. So whether it is North African countries like Tunisia, Morocco, or Philippines, or Mexico, or Brazil. And suddenly you realize that they are all talking to each other in strong German, and you are not able to participate in that conversation. You smile, you nod, but you are not able to follow what they are talking about. This is where your first level of confidence takes a hit. You wake up next day in the morning, you land up in the hospital and in the nursing home where you are going to be working at, and the orientation begins. The entire orientation is done in German. What you need to realize, what you learn in classroom when you're going through B2 level of training is not the same as spoken conversation once you land up in Germany. So you start avoiding conversations. Your confidence drops even further. On a regular day, you are working on 8 to 10 hour long shifts. You are reading charts, you are looking at medical history of patients, you are handling emergency. Each and everything is in German. And these are core German language where you have to read these charts and manage emergencies while understanding each and every German word. Now, every word that you do not understand or you miss out adds to the stress level. Sometimes you may land up coming close to a patient. The patient may walk up to you and crack a joke. You listen to the joke, but you are not able to understand or grasp the joke. And the other person starts laughing. You again starts feeling lonely. So across all these aspects, what I'm just trying to tell you is that if you do not understand German language well, the moment you land up, your confidence will start taking a beating. So what happens with that? You start feeling homesick. You start realizing and figuring out that you are missing home a lot. You check up your WhatsApp group and all your friends are doing something interesting back at home, whether it is buying a bike or getting prepared for a wedding or their Onam festival itself. And with that low confidence and the fact that everybody is enjoying things back in Kerala, you start feeling homesick and you start searching for flights to go back home. And that's where you realize that if only salary was the most important thing, you had made the right choice. But landing up in Germany is far beyond just the salary and just the clearing of the B2 examination. Now, why is the year one makes or breaks people? Look, at the end of the day, when you land up, the first year is where you have to culturally align and culturally integrate yourself to what the country is looking for. It's not just with the job, it's not just with the basics of the language, but it's with everything else. How do you go to a grocery store and have a conversation? How you land up in the local place to get your first SIM card for your phone? How do you get your insurance done? All of those things become extremely critical for you to integrate properly in the country. Now, sometimes you may feel, when I'm landing up in Germany, I have done my B2 level of certification, but that B2 level of certification is not necessarily and sufficient thing for you to be successfully integrated into the society. B2 will give you passable grammar and passable German language spoken skills. But when you have to have a conversation, when you want to talk to somebody, that's a whole different ballgame. Most courses that you will go to and you will perhaps listen to and do it online or do it offline, they will prepare you for the examination, but they will not prepare you for real conversation. It is the last mile where you move from just exam preparation to learning the language to having a right kind of communication is where you can make or break. And that's where when you land up, you should not feel the pain and the pinch of not being able to understand somebody who's talking really fast with you. Germans are extremely polite, but unlike Indians, they are very, very private. They won't engage with you on small talks. There's not going to be too much of eye contact. You will not get invited to their houses for dinners or meals. You will suddenly start feeling extremely lonely and you will feel invisible. And that's the time you don't know how to ask for help. Because back at home, if you had a problem, you can reach out to your friends, you can reach out to your senior nurse, you can reach out to a doctor, you can reach out to your neighbor. But in Germany, how do you reach out to somebody for any kind of help? In Germany, everybody expects you to take your own initiatives. In a hospital, while you are working in Germany, you are no longer a nurse. You are in some way a mini doctor. So if you hesitate, everybody will think that you are not skilled. It's not just about your skills, because all of us know what you have learned in India at part of your GNM or BSc nursing has skilled you enough to be able to successfully do your job in Germany. Please remember, it's not your skills. Your skills, what you have learned in India as part of your BSc or GNM nursing program, is perhaps some of the best skills that you will earn anywhere in the world. It is the expectation, because you land up thinking that you are fully skilled, but when you are not able to have the right conversation is when the confidence takes a beating. You should remember that when you land up in Germany, not all the jobs that you will have access to or you will land up with are going to be in big cities. When we think of Germany, we think of Berlin, we think of Frankfurt, we think of Munich, but most placements may happen for you guys in small towns or rural parts of Germany. Having access to Indian food is not going to be easy. You won't find too many expat population or Indian population around with you. I had an instance where we met a nurse who joined in a hospital in Lower Saxony, which is in the eastern part of Germany, and she had to wait for 6 months to make a friend. That's the kind of effort that she had to make. And therefore, please come with the expectation that once you land up in the country, it is going to take time for you to integrate well with the society. So what would actually help you to land up in Germany and integrate well into the society? Answer to that question is not just about preparing for the B2 examinations and spend enough time and energy into going through the exam preparation. It's about going beyond B2. It's about not just focusing on the grammar, but getting into the spoken German. It's about understanding the real cultural context when you land up in Germany. The real scenarios, what will happen in a hospital, what will happen in a nursing home is equally important for you to understand. And most importantly is the real community that you form when you land up in Germany. At BorderPlus, we try to simulate your year one. We train you for what you will go through when you land up in Germany. We stress test that for you. We ensure that you go through multiple real-life simulations and real-life scenarios where you are not just practicing your spoken language, but you are practicing in the local cultural context of Germany. We do so such that when you land up in Germany, you are ready and not just language qualified. So before I end this video, I must push you towards thinking beyond that one question: what is the salary that I'm going to earn when I land up in Germany? Because the right question for you to ask is, am I ready for year one? Because if you are not, even a great salary won't be enough. You will feel lonely. But if you are well prepared and you understand the cultural context, you understand the language, you understand how you are going to succeed, not just survive in year one, is where you can end up becoming from a good nurse to a great nurse and that's where BorderPlus will be there with you and will make sure that you have all the right arsenals of landing up and having a great and successful year one in Germany.